capacity to learn is a skill, and the willingness to learn is a choice. Embracing the new normal and addressing the challenge of quality basic education, you are listening to Radyo Z-Eskwela. Siguradong masaya! You can also listen and watch this episode via live stream at Z Radio 88.5 and DepEd Tayo Division of Davao de Oro Facebook pages. Hello, my brilliant learners. How are you today? I hope you are doing well in your respective homes. Are you motivated for another learning experience in English 5? If you do, sit back and relax. Get your pen and modules and let's do it. This is Ma'am Jennifer Caballero, your teacher for today. Hi kids! In the previous activity sheets, you were able to distinguish among different types of viewing materials such as a dictionary, encyclopedia, thesaurus, atlas, newspaper, and almanac. Knowing these types of viewing materials somehow helps you in learning the topics in a particular lesson. This time, you will be learning another important lesson that will help you understand more the different text types. Before we begin, in this activity sheet, you will be accomplishing series of exercises that will help you understand the lesson and expected to distinguish text type according to purpose and features, classification, enumeration, explanation, and time order. Are you excited to discover something new? To begin with your learning journey, let us first have this activity. Arrange the letters in the box to form a word. I will give you 3 minutes to accomplish the task. Your time starts now.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
Radyo Z-Eskwela Executive Committee, the Schools Division Superintendent, Eufemia T. Gamutin Seso 5, Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Romel R. Handayan, OIC Curriculum Implementation Division Chief, Karina S. Frasco, School Governance and Operations Division Chief, Dr. Ruben J. Riponte. Members: Cecilia Morales, Dr. Hilda A. Opena, Dr. Arlene B. Lim, Dr. Eldecris B. Calzadora, Dr. Dexter A. Sikinia, Nohara O. Pinute, Noemi P. Canales, Dr. Grace D. Pontillas, Virgilito C. Pabrices, Juanito Lapiceros, Engineer Norberto S. Manlangit, Jomar M. Dumupoy, Bob Dalan S. Milabat, Medard T. Ampit, and Paz Eugenia Villusino. Technical Working Committee, Productions and Communications, Lorely E. Quijano, Given G. Hinampas, Judyland T. Yu, Donna D. T. Bolifer, Mary Rose N. Resma, Riwen Manuel, Irene Lea C. Manguhon, and Bessie Aya N. Banias. Social Media and Packaging Team, Christian Anhara L. Martesio, William R. Ranara, Joan T. Iscoton, Roberto S. Acusar Jr., May B. Istaniol, Richard H. Arellano, Clee L. S. Blanco, Ralph A. Tabanyag, Angelo Gutierrez Jr., and Jade Karen Arais.
Alright, now let us check if you got the correct answers. For the first box, we have time order. In the second box is explanation. The third box is classification. Finally, the last box is enumeration. Did you get the correct answers? Great! Now let's move on to the next part. Hey, are you ready to learn the new lesson? You seem to have an idea on what you will be learning today. Now, read and understand the excerpts below. Study the different text types. What is a text type? It is a way of classifying and defining different types of language interaction, both spoken and written. It refers to the purpose of a text and the way it is written. Here are some of the different text types. Classification text type. Classification text meant to arrange or sort ideas, things into groups with common characteristics. It uses signaled words or phrases of the same part of speech, all nouns, all verbs, all adjectives, and etc. This text requires the reader's prior knowledge in determining what is common between or among the items. Here is an example selection for classification text type. The continuous changing of air around us is called weather. Wind, rain, and snow are the different forms of changes taken by weather. The lives of people are influenced by these changes. Many people are forced to stay in their houses when it rains or snows. Weather likewise influences individuals' choice of clothes. When the weather is hot and thick, one wears light clothes, tight when it is cold. The second text type is the enumeration text type. It supports the main idea with the listing examples or illustrations, usually characteristics, attributes, or descriptions of a concept or an idea. Signal words or phrases used in enumeration include, for example, for instance, first, then, next, to begin with, such as, finally. Characteristics include and as follows. Here is an example selection for enumeration text type. The different layers of Earth. The Earth is composed of different layers. The first layer is the crust. It is very thin in comparison to the other three layers. The crust is only about 3 to 5 miles thick under the oceans and about 25 miles thick under the continents. The next is the mantle, which is located directly under the Sima. It is 1,800 miles thick and the largest layer of the Earth. It is composed of very hot, dense rock. The outer core is like a ball of very hot metals. It is located about 1,800 miles beneath the crust and is about 1,400 miles thick. It is composed of melted metals, nickel, and iron. Finally, the inner core has temperatures and pressures so great that the metals are squeezed together and are not able to move about like a liquid, but are forced to vibrate in place as a solid. It begins about 4,000 miles beneath the crust and is about 800 miles thick. All in all, there are 4 layers of the Earth. The third text type is the explanation text type. It tells why and how something happens. It provides pieces of information that are based on facts, just like the scientific explanations in science textbooks and encyclopedia. It begins with a topic, describes items related to the topic in the right order, and explains how these items are related to each other. It may have a conclusion. This type of text is written in the present tense. Here is an example selection for explanation text type. Animals have special ways of adaptation which enables them to live anywhere on Earth. Adaptation is the way an animal's and plant's body changes in order to survive in its habitat. The physical characteristics of animals are the immediately obvious evidence of adaptation. For example, a camel's body is insulated by the fatty tissues found in its hump. The insulation provided by such fatty tissues allows camel to remain cool even in hot places such as the desert. Over time, and depending on the changes in their habitats, physical changes may occur in animals to enable them to survive in a change. The fourth text type is the time order text type. It shows a procedure or process. Each sentence tells the next step is carrying out a process or in getting from one place to another. Transitional or signal words that may be used to show the order of steps include first, second, third, then, before, after, during, meanwhile, and etc. Here is an example selection for time order text type. How to cook putu cheese. Puto cheese is one of the delicious kakanin in the Philippines. In cooking puto cheese, you will need 4 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 cups of sugar, 4 tablespoons of baking powder, 4 sachets of 33 grams powdered milk, 1 teaspoon of salt, 3 cups of water, 4 pieces of egg, 1/2 cup butter, 1 tablespoon vanilla extract, and cheese. First, mix all the dry ingredients and add the liquid ingredients. Then, slice the cheese into rectangular shape. Next, boil water in a steamer. Meanwhile, put the mixed ingredients in a puto molder, then add cheese on top. When the water boils, put the molders on the steamer and let it cook for 10 minutes. Afterwards, get the cooked puto on the steamer and let it cool. Lastly, remove the puto from the molder and put it on a serving plate.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Kanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
Okay, kids, how are you doing so far? Are you learning from the given examples? Then, let's do this activity to widen your learning on the different text types. This time, you will identify whether the text is a classification, enumeration, explanation, or time-order text. Color the shape under the box. Green if it is a classification text, red if it is enumeration text, yellow if it is an explanation text, and blue if it is a time-order text. Are you ready? Let's begin! What type of text is this? The correct answer is color green. Since the topic weather was classified into various groups or forms, it is a classification type of text. How about this one? Read and understand the selection carefully. What type of text is this? Great! The answer is color blue. The text shows sequential routine. It is a time-order text type. How about this? What type of text is this? Correct! The answer is color red. The selection lists the kinds of soil and their characteristics. It is an example of enumeration type of text. What about this? What type of text is this? Correct! The answer is color yellow. As you observe, the selection tells us how heat is produced. It is an explanation type of text. Did you get it all correctly? Amazing! You are really my brilliant learners. Alright kids, how did you find the previous activities? Were they confusing? Oops! Now, listen. This next activity will help you understand more of our lesson. I want you to read the selection below and identify what type of text it is. Write what is asked in the graphic organizer. Let us read all together the selection on screen. Okay? Let's begin. The atmosphere is composed of different levels. The first level, called troposphere, is the nearest to Earth, about 11 kilometers thick. Most clouds and weather are found in this layer. Next is the stratosphere, which is about 11 to 48 kilometers above the Earth's surface. It is the ozone layer which absorbs the most of the harmful ultraviolet radiation from the sun. The mesosphere is above the stratosphere, in which the atmosphere is very rarefied and the temperature decreases with altitude. The fourth layer is the thermosphere, which starts at about 55 kilometers. The temperature is so hot that it cannot be measured by a thermometer. Temperature may be thousands of degrees high. The second to the last layer is the exosphere, the region beyond the atmosphere. Finally, the ionosphere overlaps the other layers from above the Earth. The air is ionized by the sun's ultraviolet rays. These ionized layers affect the transmittance and reflectance of radio waves. All in all, there are 6 levels of the Earth's atmosphere. What type of text is this selection? Can you give me the answer? Correct! It is an enumeration text type. Now, it's time to fill in this graphic organizer to understand why the selection is an enumeration type of text. Let us fill in first the general subject, which is very good, the different layers of the atmosphere. Let's enumerate the different levels of the atmosphere. First, we have troposphere, is the nearest to Earth, about 11 kilometers thick. Second is the stratosphere, which is about 11 to 48 kilometers above the Earth's surface. Third, the mesosphere is above the stratosphere, in which the atmosphere is very rarefied and the temperature decreases with altitude. The fourth level is the thermosphere, which starts at about 55 kilometers. Second to the last level is exosphere, the region beyond the atmosphere. Lastly, ionosphere, which overlaps the other layers from above the Earth. Did you get the correct answers? Good job, kids! Let's have another selection. Let us read the passage together. A penguin's body is equipped with features that keep it warm despite living in the coldest parts of Earth. Its skin is very thick, and under its body is a lot of fat called blubber, which enables a penguin to maintain high temperature. The dark feathers on a penguin absorb heat from the sun. In addition, these feathers are tightly packed and overlap with one another, thus providing the penguin with much needed warmth. For waterproofing, the feathers are coated with oil, produced by a gland near the penguin's tail. In addition, penguins huddle together to keep their bodies as close to one another as possible so they can keep themselves warm. What type of text is this selection? Can you give me the answer? Correct! It is an explanation type text. Now, it's time to fill in this graphic organizer to understand why the selection is an explanation type of text. Let us fill in first the introduction part. What will we fill in? Very good! A penguin's body is equipped with features that keep it warm despite living in the coldest parts of Earth. Next is the explanation. Its skin is very thick, and under its body is a lot of fat called blubber, which enables a penguin to maintain high temperature. The dark feathers on a penguin absorb heat from the sun. In addition, these feathers are tightly packed and overlap with one another, thus providing the penguin with much needed warmth. For waterproofing, the feathers are coated with oil produced by a gland near the penguin's tail. Lastly, the conclusion. In addition, penguins huddle together or keep their bodies as close to one another as possible so they can keep themselves warm. Did you get the correct answers? Great job, kids! Alright, kids, let's have another selection. Let us read the passage together. Alisa was a girl of contentment in what she had and did. First, she never asked her parents to provide the things and comfort that others have. Next, she avoids comparing her family status with her friends. She believed that blessings come when you have faith with the Almighty God. And lastly, Alisa found her studies to be a venue of challenge where she could concentrate in her time and effort in order to excel. What type of text is this selection? Can you give me the answer? Correct! It is a time-ordered text type. Now, it's time to fill in this graphic organizer. Since it is a time-ordered type of text, we will use this organizer. Let us fill in what happened first in the selection. First, she never asked her parents to provide the things and comfort that others have. Next, she avoids comparing her family status with her friends. She believed that blessings come when you have faith with the Almighty God. And lastly, Alisa found her studies to be a venue of challenge where she could concentrate in her time and effort in order to excel. See how easy this could be. Great job, kids! Let's have the last selection. Let us read the passage together. Cats are domesticated animals that have been living with humans for generations. Cats can be classified in a number of different ways. For example, they can be classified by breed. Examples of different breeds include Persian, Maine Coon, Siamese, American Shorthair, and countless others as defined by the Pet Care RX. Cats can also be classified by their role in the lives of their masters and the work they do. For example, a cat might be a family pet and a guard in your barns because they are good in killing mice and rats. In many cases, cats are defined as good in regulating their master's anxiety. What type of text is this selection? Can you give me the answer? Yes, it is a classification text type. For this type of text, we will fill in this graphic organizer. Let us fill in first the main topic, which is cats. For the first classification, we have breed like Persian, Maine Coon, Siamese, American Shorthair. The second one is role of a cat might be a family pet and a guard in your barns because they are good in killing mice and rats. Are your answers correct? Very good, kids! You did a great job in our activity today.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertadazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
How was everything so far? I believe you already have an idea of what you are learning at the end of this activity sheet. Want more activities to better understand our lesson? Now, discuss the following based on your understanding of the different text types. How will you distinguish if the text presented is a classification text type or explanation text type? Yes, classification text meant to arrange or sort ideas or things into groups with common characteristics, while explanation text type begins with the topic, describes items related to the topic in the right order, and explains how these items are related to each other. Second question: how will you distinguish if the text presented is an enumeration text type or time-ordered text type? Enumeration text type supports the main idea with the listing examples or illustrations, usually characteristics, attributes, or descriptions of a concept or an idea. On the other hand, time-ordered text type shows a procedure or process. Each sentence tells the next step is carrying out a process or in getting from one place to another. Last question: how will you distinguish if the text presented is an enumeration text type or time-ordered text type? Only you can ponder and answer this question at home. Oops! We are not done yet. Please do the activity below to check how far you have understood the lesson. Distinguish the text type written below and write your answers on the blank before the number. Are you ready? Let's do it! Number 1. Blank. The last group is called for keeps. These are my things that can still be used and are valuable to me. Number 2. Blank. Seahorses made differently from other animals. Number 3. Blank. Finally, she doesn't feel sad anymore because she now got the chance to play with the other kittens. Number 4. Blank. First, measure 3 cups of rice and rinse it with water. The last one, number 5. Blank. Faith likes everything about the K-pop group BTS, their personality, their music, their dance moves. Your time starts now! We are back and your time is also up. Now is the time to check your answers. For number 1, the answer is yes, classification. Number 2, yes, it is explanation text type. Number 3, very good, it's time-ordered text type. Number 4, also a time-ordered text type. Lastly, number 5 is enumeration text type. How was your assessment? Did you get higher scores? Amazing! Hey, here are more exercises to be done for you to check if you have understood the lesson. Good luck! Choose one among the 4 text types discussed in our lesson. Then, write a paragraph of any topic you want. Just submit it to your teacher so she can assess you further. It looks like you are through with this activity sheet. Congratulations on actively engaging in each of the activities prepared for you. Learning how to distinguish text types according to purpose and features can help improve your skills in reading and writing. It might be confusing from the start, but as you go on learning more about this lesson, you will be able to distinguish text type easily. Good luck with your application of distinguishing text type according to its purpose and features. We will have question and answer portion after this. For the next 5 minutes, we will entertain clarifications regarding our topic. You can post comments on the Z Radio 88.5 Facebook Live and DepEd Tayo Division of Davao de Oro Watch Party. Again, you can post comments on the Z Radio 88.5 Facebook Live and DepEd Tayo Division of Davao de Oro Watch Party. Just a reminder, questions to be entertained are purely related to the topic we discussed. We will cater only for 5 minutes. Today, indeed, is a worthwhile learning experience for our subject in English 5. I am Jennifer Caballero, living this inspiring hope. Never stop learning because life never stops teaching. Until next time, God bless everyone.
Radyo Z-Eskwela Executive Committee, the Schools Division Superintendent, Eufemia T. Gamutin, CESO 5. Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Romel R. Handayan. OIC Curriculum Implementation Division Chief, Karina S. Frasco. School Governance and Operations Division Chief, Dr. Ruben J. Riponte. Members: Cecilia Morales, Dr. Hilda A. Opeña, Dr. Arlene B. Lim, Dr. Eldecris B. Calzadora, Dr. Dexter A. Siquinia, Nohara O. Pinute, Noemi P. Canales, Dr. Grace D. Pontillas, Virgilito C. Pabrices, Juanito Lapiceros, Engineer Norberto S. Manlangi, Jomar M. Dumupoy, Bob Daylan S. Milabat, Medard T. Ampit, and Paz Eugenia Villusino. Technical Working Committee, Productions and Communications, Lorely E. Quijano, Given G. Hinampas, Judyland D. Yu, Donna D. T. Bolifer, Mary Rose N. Resma, Riwen Manuel, Irene Lea C. Manguhon, and Bessie Aya N. Banias. Social Media and Packaging Team, Christian Anhara L. Martesio, William R. Ranara, Joan T. Iscoton, Roberto S. Acusar Jr., May B. Istaniol, Richard H. Arellano, Glee L. S. Blanco, Ralph A. Tabanyag, Angelo Gutierrez Jr., and Jade Karen Arais.
sa balay man o trabaho. Giving you the best music and everything, diring lang sa Z-Radio. Kahit ang adlaw siguradong lingaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong tuyaw. Para sa Bulawanon na probinsya, Z-Radio. Sa Bulawanon na Pasibya, Z-Radio. Kahit ang adlaw siguradong lingaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong tuyaw. Para sa Bulawanon na probinsya, Z-Radio. Sa Bulawanon na Pasibya, Z-Radio. Kahit ang adlaw siguradong lingaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong tuyaw. Para sa Bulawanon na probinsya, Z-Radio. Sa Bulawanon na Pasibya, Z-Radio. Kahit ang adlaw siguradong lingaw, dili magpaulahi kay siguradong tuyaw. Para sa Bulawanon na probinsya, Z-Radio. Sa Bulawanon na Pasibya, Z-Radio.
One station, all the hits.
Z-Radio 88.5.
And we are back here sa ating programang Radyo Z-Eskwela. Kamughapon na minaw din sa atong sibiyahan ng Z-Radio 88.5 sa inyong mga radyo, ang istasyong Siguradong Lingaw, Siguradong Kuyaw. And you are still with me. My name is Teacher Given og ako ang inyong makauban down to 12 o'clock karong udto. And of course, atuan nang nahuman ang atuang unang lesson presentation for today's episode nga gihatod kanato sa atuang content presenter na si Ma'am Jennifer J. Caballero, all the way from King Central Elementary School SPED Center. Kauban niya ang atong creative resource material developer na si Ma'am Arian Tita Balanza of Mawab District. Daghan kayong salamat sa atong content presenter and creative resource material developer for all the effort nga gihatag aron sa pag-prepare ni ining ato ang lesson presentation for today in English Grade 5 with our topic different text types. Sa ato ang mga estudyante nga naminaw karon, I hope nga daghan ta og nakutlo sa ato ang klase, and in case na atay mga pangutana, please feel free to approach your respective teachers in your respective schools para mas malamdagan mo sa mga butang nga medyo dili kaayo klaro sa inyo ha. And of course, I believe ato ang content presenter nakatutok sa ato ang Facebook Live karon para mutubag sa inyo ha mga pangutana. So please feel free to utilize our comment section pinaagi sa pag-type or pag-key-in sa inyong mga questions sa ato ang comment boxes. Oras na to, it's 11:19. Daghan kaayong salamat once again and congratulations to our content presenter and creative resource material developer for our English 5 lesson presentation. Right now mo ato ang ipadayon ang ato ang lesson presentations no for our next grade level, but for now ato asang itimbaya kining ato ang mga suking tigpaminaw. Hello to Ma'am Merla Alcontin Munoz from Mako Heights Central Elementary School. Hi also to Sir Ali Dawani of Pangi Elementary School, Mako North District. Hello to Vincent Hustol II, Aldrin Oclarit, Ma'am Julie May Poblete Bacas, Ma'am Zaita Onyate Dikoy from Gabi Elementary School. Hello to Ma'am Lucina Togonon Laro, Ma'am Luisita Capoy, Ma'am Maria Luz Berzo Malino, Ma'am Maria Rodora Cardinal Mangar of Maragusan. Hi to Ma'am Carmelita Taripe from Mipangi Elementary School, and Ma'am Elina Palcon from Compostela Central Elementary School SPED Center. Padayon lang sa pagpaminaw ni ining atong programa no, mabati gihapon ta ninyo pinaagi sa inyong mga radyo 88.5 on your radio dial o pinaagi sa ato ang mga nagkadaiyang social media platforms kung diin nagpahigayon ta karon sa ato ang live streaming sa ato ang mga lessons dinhi sa atong programa. And padayon lang pod sa pagpadangat sa inyong mga pagtimbaya o mga pangutana pinaagi sa ato ang mga social media platforms, or pwede po kayo ninyong i-text ang numerong 0953-211-3492. Again, 0953-211-3492. Daghan kayong salamat sa ato ang mga program sponsors. Hi and hello. Thank you very much to Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Kanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, and GP&H Construction Incorporated. Time now, it's 11:21 in the morning, and that time check is being brought to us by Apex Mining Company Incorporated and Pahati Construction. I believe ready na ang ato ang mga grade 6 pupils nga maminaw sa ato ang lesson karong adlaw nga ihatod kanato by no less than our co-anchor po din sa ato ang programa, no, Sir JL Judilan TU, Master Teacher 1 of Lagab Elementary School, and our topic is entitled Evaluating Narratives Based on How the Author Developed the Elements, Setting, and Characters. Once again, sa ato ang mga grade 6 pupils, please get ready because we are now going to give you our lesson presentation for grade 6 English. Let's make the most out of our Monday as we use our skills in critical reading in today's episode for our English lessons. Ubani ko ninyo, my name is Teacher Given. Tara na, magklase na ta.
One great day, grade 6 learners. How are you all doing? I hope you're all in good health and in high spirits. This is Teacher Judilan once again. Welcome to another English lesson here on Radyo Z-Eskwela, Siguradong Masaya. Are you ready? Well then, let's get the ball rolling. For today's lesson, we shall be learning how to evaluate narratives based on how the author developed the elements. I'm sure you have heard about the story of the race between the rabbit and the turtle. We are going to hear it again today. Before that, here are some questions you will have to answer after the story is told. Number 1. What animals are mentioned in the story? Again, what animals are mentioned in the story? Number 2. Where did the story happen? Again, where did the story happen? Number 3. When did the story happen? Again, when did the story happen? Number 4. What can you say about the characteristic of the rabbit? Again, what can you say about the characteristic of the rabbit? Number 5. What can you say about the characteristic of the turtle? What can you say about the characteristic of the turtle? Are you now ready to listen to the story? Let's begin. The Rabbit and the Turtle. One day, in a jungle, a rabbit was boasting about how fast he could run. He was laughing at the turtle for being so slow. Much to the rabbit's surprise, the turtle challenged him to a race. The rabbit thought this was a good joke and accepted the challenge. The fox was to be the umpire of the race. As the race began, the rabbit raced way ahead of the turtle, just like everyone thought. The rabbit got to the halfway point and could not see the turtle anywhere. He was hot and tired and decided to stop and take a short nap. Even if the turtle passed him, he would be able to race to the finish line ahead of him. All this time, the turtle kept walking step by step by step. He never quit, no matter how hot or tired he got. He just kept going. However, the rabbit slept longer than he had thought. And when he woke up, he could not see the turtle anywhere. He went at full speed to the finish line, but found the turtle there, waiting for him. All right, time to answer the questions I gave you previously. Number 1. What animals are mentioned in the story? Choices are letter A, pig and goat. Letter B, horse and cow. And letter C, rabbit and turtle. Again, your choices are letter A, pig and goat. Letter B, horse and cow. Letter C, rabbit and turtle. The correct answer is letter C, rabbit and turtle. Number 2. Where did the story happen? Your choices are letter A, in the city. Letter B, in the jungle. Letter C, in a farm. Again, letter A, in the city. Letter B, in the jungle. Letter C, in a farm. The right answer is letter B, in the jungle. Number 3. When did the story happen? Letter A, one morning. Letter B, one afternoon. Letter C, one day. Again, letter A, one morning. Letter B, one afternoon. Letter C, one day. The right answer is letter C, one day. Number 4. What can you say about the characteristic of the rabbit? Letter A, kind. Letter B, boastful. Letter C, shy. Again, letter A, kind. Letter B, boastful. And letter C, shy. The correct answer is letter B, boastful. Lastly, for number 5, what can you say about the characteristic of the turtle? Letter A, diligent. Letter B, ignorant. And letter C, boastful. Again, letter A, diligent. Letter B, ignorant. And letter C, boastful. Well, the correct answer is letter A, diligent. Great job, learners! 2 of the basic elements of a story are setting and characters. Setting is where and when the story is set. Setting represents a time and place. or when and where of the story. The setting may also include the environment of the story, which can be made up of the physical location, climate, weather, or social and cultural surroundings. There are various ways that time and place indicate setting. Time can cover many areas, such as the character's time of life, the time of day, time of year, time period such as the past, present, or future. Place also covers a lot of areas, such as a certain building, room in a building, country, city, beach, in a mode of transport such as a car, bus, boat, indoors or out, etc. The setting of a story can change throughout the plot. Character, on the other hand, is a person, animal, being, creature, or thing in a story. There can be one main character or many, and often there are secondary characters, but not always. A story can have only one character and still be a complete story. The hero is the main character of the story, and the villain is the force in opposition of the hero. This person may not be bad or evil, but he or she opposes the hero in a significant way. Characters are what make stories. Without a character, there is no story to tell, only a lot of sceneries. They can be used to help teach a lesson, to entertain, to educate, and even to persuade, depending on the author's goal for the storyline. Characters can be based on real people and events, or be totally unrealistic. People become attached to characters as if they are real, may develop favorites, and relate to those that have faced similar situations. Why don't we get back to the fable, The Rabbit and the Turtle, and find out the story's setting and characters? In the story, it was mentioned that it happened one day in a jungle, and that the characters were the turtle and the rabbit. Now, time for us to practice more. Fill in the blanks with the correct answer to tell if you understood the fable. Choose your answer from the given words in the box. Your choices are hero, rabbit, jungle, villain, turtle, one day. Again, these are your choices: hero, rabbit, jungle, villain, turtle, one day. Let's begin. Number 1. The story happened in blank, the place, blank, the time. Number 2. In the fable, again, the story happened in blank, the place, blank, the time. Number 2. In the fable, blank is the hero, while blank is the villain. Again, in the fable, blank is the hero, while blank is the villain. Number 3. The blank is the character that makes good things, while blank is a character that opposes the hero. Again, the blank is the character that makes good things, while blank is the character that opposes the hero. For the meantime, we will take a short break, and while we do that, I need you to answer the activity I have just given you. Radio Z-Eskwela will be right back. Stay tuned.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
And we are back. Let's now check your answers. The story happened in a jungle one day. Number 2. In the fable, the turtle is the hero, while the rabbit is the villain. For number 3, the hero is a character that makes good things, while the villain is a character that opposes the hero. Fantastic job, learners! Now let's have another story. Before we begin, remember to take note of the title, the setting, and the characters of the story. Are you ready? Listen to the story as I read it. If you're watching the video, you may read with me. Let's begin. The Two Rabbits. One windy dusk, two rabbits try to cross a weak wooden bridge across the river. Rabbit 1 is at the other end of the bridge, while Rabbit 2 is on the opposite end of the bridge. Rabbit 2 asks Rabbit 1 to let her pass first because she is pregnant and about to give birth. But Rabbit 1 is not ready to make way for Rabbit 2. Instead, Rabbit 1 hurriedly crosses the bridge and drags Rabbit 2 into the middle of the bridge and challenges her for a fight. While Rabbit 1 was busily slapping Rabbit 2, the bridge gives in, taking Rabbit 1 down into the river with it, and it drowned and died. Alright, that's the end of the story. Let's check what you have taken down notes. The title of the story is The Two Rabbits. The characters are Rabbit 1 and Rabbit 2. Between the two of them, Rabbit 2 is the hero, while Rabbit 1 is the villain. While the setting where the story took place is the bridge One with the dusk. Awesome work, learners! This time, we are going to have one more story. You will have to answer the following questions after I have read the story. Number 1. What is the story all about? Again, what is the story all about? Number 2. Where did the story happen? Again, where did the story happen? Number 3. When did it happen? Again, when did it happen? Number 4. Who do you think is the hero in the story? Again, who do you think is the hero in the story? Number 5. What about the villain? Who is it? Again, what about the villain? Who is it? If you are ready, let's start. The smartest man in the world. A doctor, a lawyer, a little boy, and a priest were out for a Sunday afternoon flight on a small private airplane. Suddenly, the plane developed engine trouble. In spite of the best efforts of the pilot, the plane started to go down. Finally, the pilot grabbed a parachute and yelled to the passengers that they better jump, and he himself bailed out. Unfortunately, there were only 3 parachutes remaining. The doctor grabbed one and said, "I'm a doctor. I save lives, so I must leave," and jumped out. The lawyer then said, "I'm a lawyer, and lawyers are the smartest people in the world. I deserve to leave." He also grabbed a parachute and jumped. The priest looked at the little boy and said, "My son, I've lived a long and full life. You are young and have your life ahead of you. Take the last parachute and live in peace." The little boy handed the parachute back to the priest and said, "Not to worry, Father. The smartest man in the world just took off with my backpack." Now, let's see if you have correctly picked the information to answer the questions given earlier. Number 1. What is the story all about? The story is all about the smartest man in the world. Number 2. Where did the story happen? The story happened on a small private airplane. Number 3. When did it happen? It happened one Sunday afternoon. Number 4. Who do you think is the hero in the story? The hero of the story is either the little boy or the priest. Number 5. What about the villain? Who is it? The doctor and the lawyer are the villains of the story. You are doing a great job so far, learners. For now, we are going to take another break. When we return, we will have our final activity. Your teacher, Judeland, will be right back.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
Radio Z-Eskwela is back. We are down to our final activity. Are you all ready? Here's the direction. Arrange the letters in each number to reveal the word being defined. Make sure you have your pens and notebooks ready. Number 1. The letters are G, E, T, S, I, N, T. Again, they are G, E, T, S, I, N, T. It is defined as the time and place the story is set. Again, it is a time and place the story is set. The correct answer is setting. For our second set of letters, we have L, A, B, C, E. Again, the letters are L, A, B, C, and E. It is the physical environment of the story. Again, it is the physical environment of the story. The correct answer is place. Number 3. The letters are H, A, C, E, R, R, A, C, T. Again, H, A, C, E, R, R, A, C, T. It is anybody or anything that is personified in the story. Once more, it is anybody or anything that is personified in the story. Do you know what the correct answer is? The right answer is character. Next, number 4. The letters are O, H, E, R. Again, that's O, H, E, R. It is the main character in the story. Again, it is the main character in the story. Your answer should be hero. For our final set of letters, we have L, I, V, N, A, I, L. Again, we have L, I, V, N, A, I, L. It is the force that opposes the main character in the story. Again, it is the force that opposes the main character in the story. The correct answer is villain. Another awesome work. And that concludes our lesson for today. Please be reminded to submit your outputs to your English teachers. This has been Teacher Judyland, thanking you for your attention during the entire lesson. You will hear from me again next month, right here on Radyo Z-Eskwela, Siguradong Masaya. Always remember, with English language, you are at home, anywhere. Until our next lesson.
Radyo Z-Eskwela Executive Committee, the Schools Division Superintendent, Eufemia T. Gamutin, CESO 5, Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Romel R. Handayan, OIC Curriculum Implementation Division Chief, Karina S. Frasco, School Governance and Operations Division Chief, Dr. Ruben J. Riponte. Members: Cecilia Morales, Dr. Hilda A. Opeña, Dr. Arlene B. Lim, Dr. Eldecris B. Calzadora, Dr. Dexter A. Siquinia, Nohara O. Pinute, Noemi P. Canales, Dr. Grace D. Pontillas, Virgilito C. Pabrices, Juanito Lapiceros, Engineer Norberto S. Manlangi, Jomar M. Dumupoy, Bob Dalan S. Milabat, Medard T. Ampit, and Paz Eugenia Villusino. Technical Working Committee, Productions and Communications, Lorely E. Quijano, Given G. Hinampas, Judyland T. Yu, Donna D. T. Bolifer, Mary Rose N. Resma, Riven Manuel, Irene Lea C. Manguhon, and Bessie Aya N. Banians. Social Media and Packaging Team, Christian and Hara L. Martesio, William R. Ranara, Joan T. Iscoton, Roberto S. Acusar Jr., May B. Istanyol, Richard H. Arellano, Lee L. S. Blanco, Ralph A. Tabanyag, Angelo Gutierrez Jr., and Jade Karen Araiz.
Ang siguradong lingaw,
Siguradong lingaw.
siguradong kuyaw,
Siguradong kuyaw.
88.5 Z Radio.
This is Z Radio 88.5.
Z Radio 88.5. Siguradong lingaw. Siguradong kuyaw.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We just heard and watched our lesson presentation for our grade 6 English that was brought to us by our content presenter, also our co-anchor din sa ato ang programa. Ladies and gentlemen, atong pasalamatan Teacher JL Judyland TU, Master Teacher 1 of Lagab Elementary School. And so right now, makauban nato si Sir JL para muhatag og katinawan sa inyuhang mga gipangdag-om nga mga huna-huna. So, without much further ado, ato ang a welcome Teacher JL in the house. Hello, sir.
Good morning, Sir Given. Good morning, everyone who's watching right now. Daghang salamat sa pagtanaw sa amuhang lesson. May buntag po.
Yes, thank you very much, Sir JL, and congratulations for really giving our learners that very comprehensive lesson presentation entitled Evaluating Narratives based on how the author developed the elements, including the setting and the characters. And so right now, we have received some questions right here. Nagbuot namong ipangutana sa ato ang content presenter para mas mahatagan nato og katinawan kining ato ang mga learners. Are you ready? Are you ready, Sir JL?
Yes, I am. Opo.
All right. So, ready na si Jeannie. Mamagod akong gitanaw-tanaw sa TikTok karon. Anyways, first off, we got here why are characters important in a story? Again, why are characters important in a story?
Right. Just imagine the story that I told during the lesson about the rabbit and the rabbit and the turtle. Imagine the story without the rabbit and the turtle. So the story would be empty. It would only be a lot of sceneries, but without a character, there is no story to tell. So they can be used to help each teach a lesson, to entertain, to educate, and to even to persuade, depending on the author's goal for the storyline. So characters can be based on real people and events, or be totally unrealistic. People become attached to characters as if they're real, and may develop favorites and relate to those that have faced similar situations. And if we can relate to the character, that makes the story even more meaningful. Kaya nga, in the story between the turtle and the rabbit, so sino sa dalawang yun ang pwedeng sumasalamin sa buhay mo? Parang gano'n, no? Oo. So that's why it's very important that we have characters in a story.
There you go. As what our content presenter have said a while ago, without the character, the story would be empty and it's colorless.
Right.
Walang color. All right. Second question right here. What is the importance of the setting in a story? Again, what is the importance of the setting in a story?
Right. We previously talked about the importance of characters. Now we're going to talk about the importance of a setting in a story. It is important to establish a setting in a story so readers can visualize and experience it, just like a photograph. So merong foreground yan. A photograph, for example, the main characters and their actions form the foreground. It's just like a photograph. So yung background, the background of that photograph is a time and place of the events and the social environment surrounding them that forms the background.
And it helps your readers relate
Right.
on the environment, on the kind of, because sometimes as we read, we put ourselves in the situation,
Exactly,
right?
tama.
So it would be very better if we were given vivid descriptions about the setting.
Exactly. It's about visualization of the setting.
All right. Last and final question right here, Sir JL. Are villains as important as heroes in the stories? One more
Right.
time. Are villains are as important as heroes in stories?
Indeed, they are, because in almost any story, the villain plays just as a vital role as a hero. The villain is often the primary reason why the hero story is even worth telling. Now, without the villain, good has nothing to triumph over.
Yeah.
Nothing challenges the hero if without the villains. Right? So, mabuhay ang mga villains.
Yeah, and it adds color.
Exactly.
Right? Sa story
Right.
natin. And kagaya nga ng mga tinitingnan or winawatch natin ng mga teleserye.
Yes, exactly.
If walang kontrabida, it would be a lot, even more boring
Right,
to
correct.
watch the story.
Right.
Okay. So, daghan kayong salamat, Teacher JL, for really answering those questions nga to ang nadawat dinhi. And I guess you have some words of gratitude nga bot nimong
Opo.
ipadangat dinhi sa kahanginan. Go ahead.
Opo. Thank you so much for the opportunities are given. And first and foremost, I'd like to thank God for giving me the strength, because I worked on it last weekend. Okay, so I had to cancel all my plans and everything just to be able to finish this. So I'd like to thank Sir Tata and Sir Given also for giving me the recorder. Thank you, salamat. Without it, I would have not done that, finished it. And then I'd like to say thank you also to Doc Dada, Ma'am Hilda Opena for giving me the opportunity, as always, to, of course, have this lesson. And of course, daghan po kayong salamat sa akong DCP, si Ma'am Marge, nga naminaw, by the way, karon, she's listening right now. Thank you very much for supporting me all the way. And then, siyempre, sa akong school principal, who's very supportive and who's been very considerate as well, and my colleagues dito sa Lagab Elementary School. And my family, and to Novi Grace, and to everyone else. Daghan kayong salamat. And the TWG of Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya.
All right, that was our content presenter, and at the same time, our co-anchor din sa atong programa. Ladies and gentlemen, palakpakan nato, Teacher Judyland TU of Lagab Elementary School.
Right. I'm the villain and you're the hero. I'm just kidding.
Let's just talk about that right after here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, daghan kayong salamat sa atong content presenter no tungod sa iyahang continuous na commitment and dedication alang sa ato ang mga learners, especially in grade 6 English. And I hope daghan kaayo tag mga nakutlo ato with all our questions right here nga gipangutana dinhi sa kahanginan. I hope nga nalamdagan tang tanan, and that is actually a form of a review for everyone nga naminaw karon about the importance of the characters and the setting in the story, not just for all our grade 6 English learners right here. Time now, it's 12:01, and of course, wala na tay igong oras, wala na ko'y igong oras kauban ninyo dinhi sa ato ang programa, but continue to tune in dinhi sa ato ang programa tungod kay musunod na dayon Teacher Drew and Teacher Maymay para ipadayon kining ato ang episode for today. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your anchor. My name is Teacher Given, og sa tanang kinatibok ang puwersa ni ining ato ang programa, inubanan sa ato ang program director Dr. Arlene Lim and Ma'am Noemi Canales. Also ato ang gipasalamatan usab ang effort nga ginahatag matag adlaw nga tanan sa ato ang mga members of the technical working group, anchor, secretariat, and every one of us here. Daghan kayong salamat for being with us all here all along, and musunod na dayon Teacher Drew and Teacher Mai para sa ato ang second half sa ato ang programa. My name is Teacher Given, dalaygo ng Dios.
One station, all the hits.
Z-Radio 88.5. Ang programang maghatod og good vibes ug mga inspirasyon sa matag pamilya, kauban si Mari Vice Governor Maricar Zamora. Saire Mare, paminaw kada Martes alas 8 hangtod alas 10 sa buntag. Saire Mare sa Z-Radio 88.5. Siguradong lingaw, siguradong kuyaw. Saire Mare. Hisgot Panglawas. Programang maghatod kaninyo sa mga impormasyon mahitungod sa hisgutan ng panglawas. Kauban ng atong mga eksperto. Paminaw matag Huwebes, alas 8 hangtod alas 9 sa buntag. Dili lang sa Z-Radio 88.5. Siguradong lingaw, siguradong kuyaw. Hisgot Panglawas. Makisayod sa hisgutanang kalinaw alang sa kalabuan sa atong komunidad. Kalinaw para sa kalambuan. Paminaw kada Biyernes alas 9 hangtod alas 10 sa buntag. Kalinaw para sa kalambuan. Dili lang sa Z-Radio 88.5. Siguradong lingaw, siguradong kuyaw.
Z-Radio 88.5.
Kazi, usa ka ba ka teki? Pindot diri, pindot dito. Ang inyong bagong Z-Radio may application na. Mag-download sa Android App Store ug Z-Radio application aron masking asa ka man mo adto, Luzon, Visayas ug Mindanao, o masking naka sa Zimbabwe. Makapaminaw ka sa Siguradong Lingaw, Siguradong Kuyaw, Z-Radio 88.5.
Pagtutulungan, walang kupas na kaugalian. Nagtagatibay, sinasabuhay. Galak sa puso ay walang kapantay. Panahon na naman ang brigada. Pagbigkisin lakas at diwa. Tara na brigada na. Bayanihan na. Ikaw ako, tayong lahat, hawak kamay, sabay-sabay, kapit-bisig, buong bayan. Tara na, kumilos na. Tulong-tulong sa pagsulong, hatid na kalidad sa edukasyon. Sa kabataan, saya at dunong, buong madla sabay na aahon. Panahon na naman ng brigada.
isang puso ay pinag-iisa.
Nang dikiin, lahat tayo'y uunlad at aangat.
Ganyan tayo, kabrigada, diwa ng bayanihan, atin ang nasimula. Man ang mararating, mananatiling tayo ay magkasangga. Dahil sa tuwing kasama ka, kabayani ka brigada, lahat ang ika'y gawin, bigat ay kayang buhatin. Ito ang pusong brigada, paalala ay pinapaganda. Pusong brigada eskwela, walang iwanan tayo.
Paano lang tinatawag na tahanan?
Aalagaan, patuloy pagyamanin, kulay at ngiti, panatilihin natin.
Ito lang,
Kapit lang,
sama-sama,
walang iwanan,
mananatiling magkasangga.
langit ay kakapiling natin. Ano man ang mararating, mananatiling tayo ay magkasangga. Dahil sa tuwing kasama ka, kabayani ka brigada, lahat ay kayang gawin, bigat ay kayang buhatin. Pusong brigada eskwela, walang iwanan tayo. Walang iwanan tayo.
Z-Radio 88.5 FM in partnership with the DepEd Division Office of Davao de Oro presents the Radyo Z-Eskwela program, a radio-based instruction that will cater learners in the entire province of Davao de Oro. Division Executive Committee headed by the Schools Division Superintendent Eufemia T. Gamutin, CESO 5, Assistant Schools Division Superintendent Feby K. L. Refamonte, CPA, Curriculum Implementation Division Chief Dr. Josie T. Bolufer, and School Governance and Operations Division Dr. Ruben J. Riponte. Members: Karina S. Frasco, Cecilia Morales, Dr. Hilda A. Opeña, Dr. Arlene B. Lin, Dr. Eldicris B. Calzadora, Dr. Dexter A. Siquinia, Nohara O. Pinuti, Noemi P. Canales, Dr. Grace D. Pontillas, Virgilito C. Fabrices, Juanito Lapiceros, Engineer Norberto S. Manlangi, Girly Ringo, Jomar M. Dumupoy, Bob Dalan S. Milabat, Medar D. Ampit, and Paz Eugenia Villusino. Technical Working Committee for Production and Communications: Lorely E. Quijano, Given G. Hinampas, Judelan T. U, Donna D. T. Bolufer, Mary Rose N. Resma, Irene Leia C. Mangohon, and Bessie Aya N. Banyes. Social Media and Packaging Team: Christian Anjara L. Martesio, William R. Ranara, Joan T. Iscoto, Roberto S. Acusar Jr., May B. Istaniol, Richard H. Arellano, Glee L. S. Blanco, Ralph A. Tabanyag, Angelo Gutierrez Jr., and Jade Karen Arais.
Sabay-sabay na babangon, sama-samang ahon, ihanda ang sarili sa hamon. Ipapipigil sa pagsulong sa kinabukasan na katuon, para sa di kalidad na edukasyon.
Balik eskwela na naman, isa puso ang kahandaan. Handang isip, handa bukas, sa pagkakaisa ay may lakas.
Ito na ang new normal, online learning at modular. Di na kailangang mag-face to face, gamit ang pagpatuloy pag-aaral mo. Tagumpay ay naghihintay sa'yo.
Balik eskwela na naman, isa puso ang kahandaan. Handang isip, handa bukas, sa pagkakaisa
Ay may lakas. Ito na ang new normal. Online learning at modular. Di na kailangang mag-face to face, gamit ng cellphone at radio base. Yakapin na ang pagbabago. Pahirapan, kaya natin to. Lakasan ang inyong loob. Sa bagong normal, sa bagong
isang
mundo.
alang-alang natin ang ating kaligtasan. Sa bawat oras at panahon, magpakailanman, hangad palagi ng ating paaralan. Ang matuto, gayon din maging ligtas ang kabataan. Tayo ay magkaisa, halina't sama-sama, kasali lahat, kasama lahat, para sa lahat. Pilipinas, maghanda ka na, balik eskwela na, tara. Tayong lahat, sabay-sabay, pagkakaisa ay may lakas.
Ito na ang new normal. Online learning at modular. Di na kailangang mag-face to face, gamit ng cellphone at radio base. Yakapin na ang pagbabago. Pahirapan, kaya natin to. Lakasan ang inyong loob. Sa bagong normal, sa bagong mundo. Sa bagong normal, sa bagong mundo. Sa bagong normal, sa bagong mundo.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Tingog Party List, Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Mabanglo Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Kanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We-Ing Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Bertodazo, Apex Mining Company Incorporated, and Icon Builders and Supply.
Hoy, tara, magklase na ta! Tara, tara! Sige, sige! Let's go!
Kunin na ang radyo, hanapin ang Z-Radio. Halika na at makinig, mag-aaral tayo! Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, makinig, matuto. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, may matutuhan bago. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Davao de Oro, Radyo Z-Eskwela. Umulan man umaraw, edukasyo'y susulong. Kaya halika na, mag-aaral tayo! Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, makinig, matuto. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, may matutuhang bago. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Davao de Oro, Radyo Z-Eskwela.
Handog ng DepEd Davao de Oro, Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya!
Let's go!
Nagasibiyag hikan sa Bulawanong probinsya sa Davao de Oro. Kini ang Siguradong Lingaw.
Siguradong lingaw.
Siguradong Kuyaw.
Siguradong kuyaw.
88.5 Z-Radio.
This is Z-Radio 88.5.
Z-Radio 88.5. Siguradong lingaw. Siguradong kuyaw.
Mayong uto ka natong tanan mga kazi. Oras nato karon, it's already 12:17 in the afternoon. Our time check is being brought to us by our Vice Governor, Honorable Maria Carmen Zamora. Ayan, so ito po yung pagpapatuloy ng ating programang Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Right and only here sa atong paboritong istasyon, ang Z-Radio 88.5 FM. Ang istasyong siguradong lingaw, siguradong kuyaw. My name is Teacher Drew Manuel. Makakasama niyo po ako for the rest of the 2 hours for today. And ang atuang first 2 hours na napakinggan natin at nakasama natin si Teacher Given Hinampas. And he featured the first 2 lesson presentation for today, which is English 5 and English 6. Ngayon naman po mga kazi, I will give it to you the 2 remaining lesson presentation for today, which is the English 8 and English 7. But before that mga kazi, so I would like to remind everyone, aside sa atong on-air din sa atong paboritong istasyon, we do have our cross-line streaming gamit ang atong Facebook application. All you have to do is to find, to like, and of course to follow our FB pages such as the Facebook Live at the Z Radio 88.5, DepEd tayo Division of Davao de Oro, and the Radyo Z-Eskwela DepEd Davao de Oro. Ayan, at the same time po mga kazi, online din tayo and naka-livestream tayo sa ating YouTube channel, which is the Radyo Z-Eskwela DDO. Again, our YouTube channel is Radyo Z-Eskwela DDO. Ayan, if you missed this episode for today, worry no more. All you have to do is to check our YouTube channel and makita ninyo doon ang atuang lahat ng mga lesson presentations gunad pa sa pag-start ng atuang school year 2020-2021. Maayong usab sa ato mga personahin din sa Division Office, nagipangunahan sa tuang motherly SDS na si Ma'am Eufemia T. Gamutin together with our ASDS Dr. Mel Handayan. And also to our RBI directors, Ma'am Arlene Lim and Ma'am Noemi Canales. And also sa tuang mga EPS sa mga tagsa-tagsa ng mga subjects. Maayong pagpaniud to. And of course, maayong pagpaniud to pod sa tuang mga learners across the province. I'm sure na ready na mo sa ato ang lesson presentation for today. Mayong utusap sa atong mga parents and guardians na nakatutok din sa atong programa karong adlaw. Ayan mga kazi, speaking of our learners, para makitaan dyan na mo nag-participate mo sa ato ang episode for today, kindly notify us with your attendance in our RBI classes for today by filling out the link https://tinyurl.com/radyoz-eskwela0405. Again, so yung ating link po dyan sa ating attendance ay naka-flash sa ating FB screens and nakapin din sa ating mga comment sections sa ating FB pages. Ayan, so sa ating mga FB pages po mga kazi, so if you have questions with regards sa ato ang mga lesson presentation or mga pa-shoutout nato diha o mga recommendations o mga queries with regards sa atong programa, so feel free to comment in the comment boxes sa ato mga FB pages. Maayong utusab sa ato mga Radyo Z-Eskwela program sponsors. And if you're not online po mga kazi, so pwede rin yung ipadangatan yung mga pangutana through our official mobile number, which is the 0953-211-3492. Again, our official number is 0953-211-3492. It's already 12:20 na po ng tanghali mga kazi, and I'm sure our grade 8 learners are ready for our lesson presentation. Ayan, makakasama natin dito sa ating grade 8 lesson presentation, ang Master Teacher 1 from Maragusan National High School na si Ma'am Marian H. Villacruces, and she will deliver the topic Examining Biases. Makakasama din natin as the Creative Resource Material Developer, isang Teacher 1 from Attorney Orlando Rimando Senior National High School. We have Ma'am Nona P. Canaliha. Okay, so let's make the most out of our Monday as we use our skills in critical reading, in today's episode for our English lessons. Kaya naman, tara na, magklase na ta!
grade 8 level. How are you today? Great! All is fine and all is well. Today, we are to discuss the first lesson in the third quarter. I hope that you have complied and submitted all the outputs in the second quarter. Always have a tracking record so you will not miss anything. This afternoon, we will study about examining biases. We will be exploring how to identify biases and learn lessons through a short story. So be in your comfortable seat with your module, notebook, and pen. Our goals today are the following. 1. Examine biases for or against made by the author. 2. Identify lines in the play that show for or against the topic. 3. Show the situation that reflect Filipino culture. Now, since we discussed the context clues in the previous quarter, let us try to identify these new words using the clues found in the context of the sentence. Now, you have to write your letter of your answer in your notebook. After each number, you'll be given 5 seconds to write your answer. Ready? Okay, number 1. A wager is a fool's argument. Wager means A. Agreement, B. Battle, C. Debate, and D. Fight. Okay, the answer for number 1 is very good. Letter A. Agreement. Number 2. The nosy neighbors gathered at Kamaldang and Kaugong's dining room. Nosy means A. Friendly, B. Supportive, C. Kind-hearted, and D. Curious. Again, nosy means A. Friendly, B. Supportive, C. Kind-hearted, and D. Curious. Okay, the answer for number 2 is great. Letter D. Curious. Number 3. A malady is spreading all over the world today. Malady means A. Pollution, B. Disease, C. Toxic, and D. Poison. Again, malady is A. Pollution, B. Disease, C. Toxic, and D. Poison. Okay, the correct answer for number 3 is very good. Letter B. Next, number 4. Kaugong is being handpicked by Kamaldang. Handpicked means A. Loving, B. Sweet, C. Nagging, D. Adore. Again, handpicked means A. Loving, B. Sweet, C. Nagging, and D. Adore. Okay, the answer for number 4 is correct. Letter C. Nagging. Next, number 4. Kamaldang got angry to her neighbors as meddlers. Meddlers means A. Interfere, B. Supportive, C. Invited, D. Kind. Again, meddlers means A. Interfere, B. Supportive, C. Invited, and D. Kind. Okay, the correct answer for number 5 is very good. Letter A. Interfere. So you have been mastering the use of skills in context clues, understanding the meaning by its context. Thank you for participating in our warm-up activity. Those are few words that are used in the story that you will enjoy this afternoon. Okay, I have a question. Who among you here knows why the girls are washing the dishes? Anyone? Yes, it's a girl's work. Another? Yes, Ate is always tasked to do the washing. Now, I will share to you a story about why women wash the dishes. This is written by Filomena Polendrino. Now, stay focused and listen. In the town of Santa Rosa, there once lived a couple named Hugo and Imelda. Every mealtime, they quarreled over the chore of the washing the dishes. Imelda would scold Hugo if he refused to wash dishes. Sometimes, she would become angry and call him names. And if he talked back, she would get coconut midge broom and chase him with it. He would run to the house of his compadre and hide there till his wife's anger had passed. The neighbors familiarly called Imelda Kamaldang and Hugo Kaubong. One day, just as they were finishing their lunch, Kaubong announced, "I'm not going to wash the dishes anymore." He threw out his chest and lifted his chin. "Who says so?" asked Kamaldang, holding up her chin higher than his. "I say so. I worked so hard in the field this morning, I am not going to wash any dishes." Kamaldang stood up and with her arms akimbo, she glared down at Kaubong across the table. She was at Kaubong across the table. She was a big woman. Her arms were stout. Her voice was also big. "And who, Mr. Hugo, is going to wash these dishes?" she asked. Kaubong's chest sank again. His chin also went down. He held on the edge of the table nervously. "You," he said in a much lower tone. "You are the woman. You should do all the housework." "And what do you do?" asked Kamaldang. "You tie the carabao to the reeds in the field and then go lie down on the grass to watch it graze? You call that hard work?" "I cook, clean the house, wash your clothes, I scrub the floor. I do all the work that only slaves should do. And yet you even refuse to help me wash the plate which you have eaten?" Kamaldang's voice was now raised to a high pitch, and her tears posed on her eyelids at Kaubong. And at her broom, she grabbed the broom, she raised the broom to strike, crying, You lazy man." Kaubong ducked under the table. "Don't," he cried. "Don't strike me. Come out from under the table, you coward," ordered Kamaldang. "Lay down your broom," said Kaubong. All right, come out." Kamaldang put her broom behind the door. Kaubong returned to his seat opposite at her at the table. "What have you to say?" asked Kamaldang, wiping her eyes. "Let's stop quarreling over the plates. Let's have a wager. The first one of us who will speak after I'd said begin will wash the dishes always." "Only that?" said Kamaldang. "The first one who talks will always wash the plates and bowls and pots and pans. Always." "Right," said Kaubong. "If you ever say just one word to me or to anybody or to anything after I had said begin, you will always wash the dishes." "That's easy. I can keep my mouth shut even for a week." "You can. You even talk to your carabao." "All right. Are you ready?" asked Kaubong. Kamaldang sat upright in front of him across the table. She nodded her head, compressed her lips, and Kaubong said, "Begin." They both fell silent. They sat at the table looking at each other across unwashed plates and bowls and spoons. They did not like to leave each other for fear that one would talk without the other hearing. They sat there just staring. Now, what do you think will happen next? Okay, hold your breath because for the meantime, we'll have a short break. Okay, good luck.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
So we're back to our session on air, and you're excited to know what happened next. Shall we continue? Okay. If you remember, Kamodang and Kaugong had an agreement, a wager, that whosoever shall speak will wash the dishes always, who speaks first. And they sat there just staring at each other. So, together let us know what happened next. Soon, the cat began to meow for its food. Neither Kamaldang nor Kaugong paid attention to its mewing. The cat jumped upon the drying dishes to lick the leftovers. Kamaldang did not drive the cat away. Neither did Kaugong. The cat licked the pot and the pan on it, overturned the kettle, spilled its contents, then went to lie down under the table. Kaugong pretended that nothing had happened. He continues to sit still, and so did Kamaldang. Soon, it was getting late in the afternoon, but they went on sitting mutely at the lunch table. Their eyes were tired from staring hard at each other. Tears began to roll down their cheeks. Kaugong's shirt became damp with his sweat. Kamaldang's sweat gathered on her forehead and trickled down to the sides of her face, and fell drop by drop to her breast. A neighbor called, "Compadre Ugong! Oh, compadre! Kaugong! Compadre!" Kaugong did not answer. The neighbor called again, "Comadre Maldang! Yoo-hoo! Comadre Maldang! Yoo-hoo! Compadre Ugong! May I borrow your axe?" Kamaldang did not answer. Kaugong looked at her silently. Perhaps nobody is at home, they heard the neighbor say to himself. But why did they leave their ladder at the door? They usually remove the ladder when they go away. Well, I'll just go up and get the axe and return it later. The neighbor went up. When the neighbor went to the bamboo ladder, he was surprised to see Kamaldang and Kaugong sitting silently at the table where the plates were dried up with the leftovers. He hurried toward them. Kaugong neither moved nor talked. The neighbor repeated his question. He shook Kaugong's shoulder. Kaugong let him shake, closing her lips, and never did say anything. The neighbor turned to Kamaldang. "Speak, comadre, what happened?" He shook her shoulders too. She pushed him roughly aside, but did not speak. "Did you eat something poisonous? Some food that was made your tongue?" He shook each one alternately, but still neither stood up nor talked. The neighbor was alarmed. He did not get the axe, but ran out to the rest of the neighbors. He told them that something terrible had happened to his compadre Ugong and comadre Maldang. The neighbors gathered at Kamaldang's dining room. They took turns trying to make them speak, but the two continued to sit staring at each other in silence. Kamaldang looked at her husband threateningly for a moment, then closed her eyes. Kaugong knew that she did so to avoid looking at the neighbors. He also closed his eyes and ignored everyone who had come up to his house. Kamaldang was very angry with her compadre's interference, but she dared not speak her mind. She pretended to be asleep. The compadre was very much worried. He ran to the village herb-man. The herb-man came, and when he saw them motionless, silent husband and wife sitting at the table, he declared that they were bewitched. He spread a woven bud, mat in the center of the sala, and asked the bewitched couple to lie down. Kaugong obediently lay down and closed his eyes. He curled up and went to sleep. But Kamaldang refused to get up from where she sat at the dining table. The herb-man said, the spirit that has taken possession of her is very stubborn. I must break its spell. He turned, then produced from a small bag, which she always carried, 9 pieces of betel leaf, a piece of areca nut, and a little lime from a tiny bottle. He examined the leaves closely to choose those which had veins running in identical arrangement on each side of the midrib. He cut the nut into 9 pieces. He spread a little lime on each betel leaf, rolled them, and wrapped them around each piece of areca nut. He now had 9 rings of the leaves. This represents the lost spirit of the couple, he said. He chewed the leaf and nut. When he had chewed it, he spat it on his palm, dipped the forefinger on the other hand into the nut-colored saliva, and marked it with a cross on the foreheads of Kaugong and Kamaldang. Kaugong did not seem to feel the old man's finger on his forehead. Kamaldang caught the man's forefinger and twisted it. The old herb doctor cried away, "Ay!" and pulled back his hands. He moved toward Kaugong, who was lying down, calling his name softly and slowly several times. "Come, Ugong! Come back, Ugong!" Kaugong did not move nor speak. "Come, Kamaldang! Home, home to your body! Now, Kamaldang!" Shouted the old man. Kamaldang did not answer. Evening fell on the frightened village. Frightened because the herb doctor said that the spell might be cast on some other villagers besides Kaugong and Kamaldang. He called to the bewitched couple softly at first and then louder, but became tired, so she reclined against the bamboo wall. But the old man said, "This is the first witchery of its kind that I have met here. By their silence, I believe that they are dead. Their spirits, driven away by the witch, have left their bodies. The only thing to do in order to keep their souls in peace and to prevent this witchery craft from spreading among us is to bury them." The herb man ordered some of the men to look for boards and make 2 coffins immediately before the malady would go to them. In no time, the 2 coffins made of rough planks, hurriedly nailed together, were finished. The women began to weep for Kamaldang. She had leaned rigidly against the back of her chair, closed her eyes, and shut her lips tight. The herb man asked the men gathered around to lift the couple into the coffins. "We shall bury them at sunrise. Some of us have to stay to keep the wake of the dead," he said. The man easily lifted Kaugong and places him inside his coffin. Surely, he thought to himself, he would win the wager. He would not be afraid of being buried. Why? He would just get cut off the grave when the neighbors were gone. He thought everything going on was great fun and he was enjoying himself. How he would frighten them all when he returned from his grave. The herb man approached Kamaldang. Although her eyes were closed, she had been listening to his directions. She was afraid that he would surely force her into the coffin if she did not tell him to go away. But she did not want to talk. She hoped her husband would object to the man's lifting her into the coffin. Surely, Hugo will not let me bury tomorrow. Oh, I'm afraid to sleep in that coffin tonight. No, I'll not let them lift me into it, she thought to herself. But she did not hear Kaugong speak. She opened her eyes just as the herdsman, aided by two other men, put his arms around her to lift her off and from the chair. Kamaldang pushed the man, got up to her feet and shouted, "Don't touch us! Get out! Get out of my house! Shame on you for coming here, meddling our lives!" Kaugong leaped to his feet. He also shouted, "You talk first!" He jumped about, clapping his hands and saying to the astonished neighbors, "She talks first!" With a wager, now she will always wash the dishes. Kamaldang lifted up the lid of Kaugong's coffin to strike his head with it, but he ran out with his neighbors, still shouting happily and saying, "I won! I knew I would win! Now, I'll never wash dishes." So, did you like and did you enjoy the story? Yes, that's true. Hilarious, of course. That's funny. Now, what have you realized after listening to the story I have read? Did you also make means to avoid washing the dishes? Okay. As a regular person, as a son or a kid, or son or daughters of your parents, as part of the house and family, we should not do anything that is just to avoid any works at home. Now, as I have said, one of our goals is to identify and examine biases made by the author. Now, what do we mean by bias? What are biases? Now, bias is a disproportionate weight in favor of or against an idea or thing, usually in a way that is closed-minded, prejudicial, or unfair. Biases can be innate or learned. People may develop biases for or against an individual, a group, or a belief. There are a lot of situations where we can observe biases in the community, in the schools, with your friends, and sometimes even in the family. Example, you believe your best friend's explanation over your sister without listening to the both sides? Okay, so we shall see here. Here are examples of some biases. On the picture, on the screen, you can see here gender bias. Why? Here are graduates, a man and a woman. But if you're going to look at here, the man is in favor of or is favorable into job opening, job opportunities than the women or than the woman here in the picture. Mean to say, sometimes in other companies, men are preferred as to the hiring of job. Next picture. So these are here 6 applicants, and if you're going to see here the big hand picking someone, this is about a bias because one of the applicants is a friend of the company owner. That is a bias. It should be an equal application process where all will be given chances or opportunities to apply. Okay, now what I would like you to do is read the story again using your module to answer task on page 7. Okay, so you're going to go over your module and you go on page 7 and answer the table here. Okay, so we will have a short break to give you time to do your task on page 7. Okay, good luck.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
So we are back. Your task output will be submitted to your teacher for checking and recording. So let's continue. Let us try to go over some portions of the story to identify biases. We have here, one day, just as they were finishing their lunch, the first slide or first part of the story. Underlined here is, I worked so hard in the field this morning, I am not going to wash any dish. Why is that a bias? Because Kaugong said he was doing all the field works and so he's not going to include himself or to do the household chores, especially washing the dishes. Why is that? In the family, you should not count as to what are you doing in the field in the whole day. What you are supposed to do is to help. Do not count whatever you have done. That's a family. Next, here, you, he said in much lower tone. You have underlined here, you are the woman, you should do all the housework. Why is that a bias? That is gender bias, of course, in the family, because we are taught that all women has to wash dishes, wash clothes, sweep the floor, and the female job, while the men are going to do the job of the men. Like, what's that? On the field? No. So, we have here the bias statement. You're a woman, you should do all the housework. Meaning, Kaugong said that all the works in the house should be for Kamaldang because he will be taking care of the works outside the house, in the field, farming. But that's not the point. The point here is if you're a family, you're going to help each other do the work. Remember what I said? Do not count what you have done. You have to help each other. Okay? Next, another underline here. It said, you tie the carabao to the reeds in the field and then you lie down and watch it graze. You call it hard work, and here comes Kamaldang enumerating her work here. I cook, clean the house, wash your clothes, I scrub the floor, and it ended that she said, now you're not going to wash the plate that you have eaten. That's already counting. If you're eating using this plate that you have eaten through this, you wash this one, wash on your own. Now, that's not the point. That is a bias. Because I have said a while ago, in the activities in the house, we should not count as to who will wash dishes, who will use this one, and who will use this one, and who will clean this one. It should be within the house, everybody should help finish the work. That is collaboration in the house. Next, another line that's bias. The first one who talks will always wash the plates and bowls and pots and pans. You will always wash the dishes, always. What if Kamalda or your sister will be sick? Is she going to wash dishes? That's not the point, of course. So whoever is there vacant, nothing to do, will be doing the washing. Or if you wish, you can have an agreement that is going to be on a scheduled basis. But the point is, again, you have to train yourself to work and you have to be happier because you are given a job to do. That's being responsible. Okay? Another line here. Surely he thought to himself he would win the wager. See, in the first place, Kaugong said and is confident that he will win the wager, the agreement, because he can pretend not to talk for a longer time. It's a bias, telling that men could win over women. That's gender bias here. Okay, next. Now she will always wash the dishes. Now I'll never wash the dishes. Look at this line. This is another gender bias that is in the story. If he's the man, he won over the agreement, the wager, because Kamalda talked first, because she was afraid to be buried in the coffin. So he said now, he's claiming now that he will never wash dishes again. And it will always be Kamalda who will do the work. But if you love your partner, if you love your wife, or your husband, and your kids, you have to agree with love that you have to help each other to finish the job so that you'll have time for recreation. Okay? It's not that the other one will be lying down watching TV while the rest are doing the household activities or household chores. It has to be helping each other because you are a family. Isn't it right? Yes, very good. Now, which part of the story that shows or reflect Filipino culture? Let's try to check. We have here, these are very Filipino culture. Now we have here lines. You tie the carabao to the reeds in the field. It's in the field. Then I cook, clean the house. That's normally from the very beginning, from our ancestors. You know that the boys are working in the field while the girls are in the house. That's how we wake up and how we know the culture. But as days pass by, years evolve, with the presence of the gender and development God inserted or associated in the schools, we know that it should be equal. Another one, he chewed the leaf nut, and when he had chewed it, his back and his palm dipped for fingers on the other hand into the nut, covered saliva, and marked it with cross on the forehead of Kaugong and Kamalta. That's very much of Filipino culture. Before the presence of doctors in the community, we have here faith healers who are going to be thought of as who can heal our illness. They are called when somebody is sick, and they are performing the faith healing. Now, these are few lines that are very Filipino culture. For now, let us check back. How far do you know about biases? For this activity, use a separate sheet of paper because you have to submit your answer to your teacher. I will show you pictures or statements. You have to tell whether there is bias or not in the given items. And of course, every answer should have justification or reason. Why do you say there isn't bias? Why do you say this is not bias? Okay, this is number one. Picture number one on your paper. Is there a bias here or not? Then share, of course, your reason. Write your reason. Okay, next we have here number two. Is there a bias in the picture? Yes. Why? No. Why? Next, here's a line. It's your first day in school. Your classmate tried to befriend several students in the classroom except one boy who wears old clothes and had only slippers on, without shoes. Okay, is there a bias here? Una. Now, lastly, share your personal means or technique in identifying biases in a selection you have read. So you have to reread the selection on the module, and then personally, is there any technique from you to identify biases? Okay. And then you have to write them down. Okay. Are there questions? None? Very good. Okay. We have come to the end of this session. I just wanted to remember this one. Remember this one always. You do not need to risk your safety just to avoid any task in life, like kaubog and kamangdang. Remember that? We need to be active to stay healthy. And because of that, do your part at home. Volunteer to help. Bye for now, and see you in the next session. Remember, you'll be healthy when you volunteer to help, and also it has to be helping, collaborating with the family and with others. Isn't it? Okay, so that's a good lesson to learn. Help, be helpful, and enjoy life. Bye!
Radyo Z-Eskwela Executive Committee, the School's Division Superintendent, Eufemia T. Gamutin, CESO 5, Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Romel R. Handayan, OIC Curriculum Implementation Division Chief, Karina S. Frasco, School Governance and Operations Division Chief, Dr. Ruben J. Riponte. Members: Cecilia Morales, Dr. Hilda A. Opeña, Dr. Arlene B. Lim, Dr. Eldecris B. Calzadora, Dr. Dexter A. Sikinia, Nohara O. Pinute, Noemi P. Canales, Dr. Grace D. Pontillas, Virgilito C. Pabrices, Juanito Lapiceros, Engineer Norberto S. Manlangit, Jomar M. Dumupoy, Bob Daylan S. Milabat, Medard T. Ampit, and Paz Eugenia Villusino. Technical Working Committee, Productions and Communications, Lorely E. Quijano, Given G. Hinampas, Judyland T. U, Donna D. T. Bolifer, Mary Rose N. Resma, Riwen Manuel, Irene Lea C. Manguhon, and Bessie Aya N. Banias. Social Media and Packaging Team, Christian Anhara L. Martesio, William R. Ranara, Joan T. Iscoton, Roberto S. Acusar Jr., May B. Istaniol, Richard H. Arellano, Lee L. S. Blanco, Ralph A. Tabanyag, Angelo Gutierrez Jr., and Jade Karen Araiz.
Sa Davao de Oro, kini ang Siguradong Lingaw, Siguradong Kuyaw, 88.5 Z-Radio.
This is Z-Radio 88.5.
Oras nato karon, alaw na impunto na dyan sa kahaponan nato. And time check is brought to us by our Vice Governor, Honorable Maria Carmen Zamora. Ayan mga ka-Z, most especially sa atong mga grade 8 learners, natunghayan natin at napakinggan natin ang ating lesson presentation for our English 8, for our quarter 3, at binigayan ng ating content presenter na isang Master Teacher 1 from Maragusan National High School na si Ma'am Marian H. Villacruces. And she talked about the English 8 with the topic of examining biases. And we would like to say thank you so much to Ma'am Marian Villacruces and also to her creative resource material developer na isang Teacher 1 from Attorney Orlando Rimando Senior National High School na si Ma'am Nona P. Canaliha. Gaya ng sabi ko po mga ka-Z, if you have questions and queries or mga pangutana with regards sa lesson presentation. So, kindly comment in the comment boxes po sa ating mga FB pages. And of course, we are fortunate enough for today kasi kasama natin ang ating content presenter for English 8 para sagutin ang mga pipila or mga frequently asked questions with regards sa kanyang lesson presentation on English 8 Examining Biases. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I will introduce to you our content presenter for English 8 for today. We have Ma'am Marian H. Villacruzes. Hi, Ma'am.
Hello, Sir Ju.
Maayong udto, maayong hapon sa imo, ha?
Maayong hapon sa tanan, and of course to our grade 8 learners.
And welcome to our program, Radyo Z-Eskwela. Is this your first time, ma'am?
I think it's my 6th time already.
Wow, so medyo chill na ka, ma'am.
Di gapon, sir.
Well, anyway, so I'm sure Ma'am Marian is very ready for answering your questions. So ready ka na ba, ma'am?
Ready na.
Ayan, so first question dito, ma'am. How can we easily identify biases?
Well, biases, from the word itself, bias, you can identify that one when you read statements or paragraph or articles. When these statements are overrated or heavily opinionated, yun bang nakastuon lang sa one side na part. Like for example, an author or writer says or creates or writes a paragraph, and then he talks only of one side, and that is a bias, by the way.
So parang one-sided.
Yes.
Dapat two-sided dapat, ma'am.
Yes, two sides of the coin, sir.
Yes, well, next question dito. Why do we need to know if lines are biased or unbiased?
Especially today, that is common to of course, to read fake news. So when we read articles, this skill is important because we need to dig over on what are the facts, what are the truth of the story.
Yes.
Now, you have to know the truth because you have to be honest, because honesty is still the best policy, sir. So you have to go for the correct data, because normally paragraphs can be extended through colorful or descriptive words, which are sometimes overrated. So you have to discover or look for which data are factual or which data are true or not.
That's right. And next question dito. Why is examining biases essential in the studies of learners or sa matag usa?
This skill is important, sir, because for the 21st century skill, it is needed, of course, for the student and everyone, to improve critical thinking skills.
Yes,
and
wow.
that includes, of course, examining all the materials that you have read. And in the school, we have a lot of reading materials to read, especially if these materials require or comment or reaction. You have to look for the factual lines, those which are data that are correct, before you can give your correct reaction to certain articles.
Okay, ma'am. So, since we are talking about biases, ma'am, can you cite some of the examples of biases para mas masabtan dun sa itong mga learners kung unsa itong mga common biases na pwede nila ma-observe?
Of course, marami po tayong ma-witness. Okay. Say, for example, an author is going to create or write an essay showing only one side of it. Say, for example, he or this writer has this hatred to a politician or a certain group.
Yes, po.
And he writes his essay or his or her essay based on his or her point of view. So she might be destroying the image of a certain person. He is going to, in his opinion, he will be overrating the person, or he'll be talking something that's not good for the person.
Okay.
Another one is in making short stories or stories. A certain author can, of course, create a character in a movie or a short story that is giving him or her or the character negative role that reflects maybe from the person of his maybe acquaintances, that he or she is going to give color to that character, but given that disadvantaged role.
Okay.
That reflects a bias also. And so much more with advertisements, sir. We have a lot of biases in advertisements. Why? Because most of the products advertised on TV or radio, of course, are just giving us the good features or the positive features. No one will say, okay, I will sell you this shampoo because this shampoo is giving you dandruff. Of course not. No one will say that.
Yes.
Normally, all the good things are given to you. So if you could not identify the biases there, you might be buying something that is not for you.
Okay, ma'am.
Or, pwede rin sa real life, you can be defending your best friend from cheating because he or she is just your best friend.
Tama.
Instead of telling the teacher or the person the truth that he or she cheated. So, biases can be based on your choices.
Yes, po.
Like you side the person. So, because you like the person, you are telling good things about the person. But when you don't like the person, he or she's not your friend, you may be telling bad things about the person. That's a bias.
Okay, pa. Well, thank you so much, ma'am. And lastly, for our frequently asked question dito, ma'am, what advice or message will you share to the learners across the province with this particular topic na examining biases?
Okay, to all the learners and even if non-learners, those who are just watching us, to master the skills, of course, in identifying biases, you have to read more because you have to expose yourselves more on different situations or articles that are giving you ideas or maybe digging your critical thinking skills.
Yes, po.
To exercise the skill is to expose yourself. In the absence of reading these matters or these situations, of course, you'll be far from the practice. So, nandun yung word, practice makes perfect.
At the same time, understanding biases, of
Yes, sir.
course, while examining that particular one. Okay, ma'am. So, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, yung ating mga frequently asked questions coming from our netizens and our mga Zuking Tigpaminaw. Well, thank you so much, Ma'am Marian Villacruzes, for answering those questions, ma'am.
Welcome, sir.
And bago tayo magpaalam kay Ma'am Marian, I'm sure maraming papasalamatan si Ma'am Marian. So, I will give time for Ma'am Marian to say something and to give thanks kung sino yung kanyang gustong pasalamatan. Take it away, ma'am.
Yes, sir. First and foremost, of course, I would like to say hi to our DCP, si Madam Emelia A. Zamora. Hello, ma'am. And of course, my principal who just said yes this morning, na nagpaalam ako, sir, mag-onboard ako sa Z Radio.
Wow.
Sir, what to do? Sabi niya, yes, ma'am. Sir Emmanuel B. Clarion, sir,
Hi, sir.
our superb principal. With, of course, the assistant, Sir J. Marmilan. And, of course, shout out to grade 9 teachers. And to all superb teachers of Maragusan National High School. Hi, hello po sa inyo lahat. And, siyempre, sa grade 8 learners. And keep learning, students. I'm with you throughout the way.
Yes. Ayan. So, that's right, mga ka-Z. So, we have our content presenter, Ma'am Marian H. Villacruzes from Maragusan National High School, isang master teacher. Thank you so much, ma'am, for gracing our lesson presentation and episode for today sa atong programang Radyo Z-Eskwela. So, God bless you, ma'am, and see you next time. Upuhon-puhon po sa atong mga future lesson presentation. Ayan, so mga ka-Z, it's already 1:09 na ng afternoon po, mga ka-Z. And bago tayo magpatuloy sa ating last lesson presentation, I would like to remind all our content presenters along with the creative resource material developer to please present or pass your raw materials ahead of time para mas mapanindot pa dyan sa ato ang mga RBI team ang ato ang lesson presentation. Ayan, and sa atong pagbalik, mga ka-Z, we will hear and witness our last lesson presentation for today. So let's pause for a break and let's have the advertisement and mga pipilan, mga pahinumdom, I mean.
Sabay na babangon, sama-samang ahon, ihanda ang sarili sa hamon. Ipapipigil sa pagsulong sa kinabukasan ng katuon para sa di kalidad na edukasyon. Eskwela na naman, isa puso ang kahandaan. Handang isip, handa bukas, sa pagkakaisa ay may lakas. Ito na ang normal, online learning at modular. Di na kailangang mag-face
Pag-asang kabataan, tayo ay magkaisa. Halina't sama-sama kasali lahat, kasama lahat, para sa lahat. Pilipinas, maghanda ka na. Balik eskwela na, tara. Tayong lahat sabay-sabay. Pagkakaisa ay may lakas.
Ito na ang new normal. Online learning ako dyan. Di na kailangan mag-face to face. Gamit ang cellphone at radio base. Yakapin na ang pagbabago. Pahirapan, kaya natin to. Lakasan ang iyong loob. Sa bagong normal, sa bagong mundo. Sa bagong normal, sa bagong mundo. Sa bagong normal, sa bagong mundo.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Tingog Party List, Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply,
Mabanglo Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply,
GB Construction and Supply, Kanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We-Ing Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Bertodazo,
Apex Mining Company Incorporated,
and Icon Builders and Supply.
Katambalan ng pag-ahon, isang bansang puso ay pinag-iisa.
Nang dikiin, lahat tayo'y uunlad at aangat.
Ginayan tayo, kabrigada, diwa ng bayanihan, atin ang hanggang simula. Man ang mararating, mananatiling tayo ay magkasangga. Dahil sa tuwing kasama ka, kabayani ka brigada, lahat ang ikawin gawin, bigat ay kayang buhatin. Ito ang pusong brigada, paaral ay pinapaganda. Pusong brigada eskwela, walang iwanan tayo.
Paaralan, tinatawag na tahanan.
Aalagaan, patuloy pagyamanin, kulay at tinig, panatilihin natin.
Ito lang,
Kapit lang,
sama-sama,
walang iwanan,
mananatiling magkasangga.
langit ay kakampiling natin. Ano man ang mararating, mananatiling tayo ay magkasangga. Dahil sa tuwing kasama ka, kabayani ka brigada, lahat ay kayang gawin, bigat ay kayang buhatin. Pusong brigada eskwela, walang iwanan tayo. Walang iwanan tayo. Hoy, tara, magklase na ta. Tara, tara. Sige, sige. Let's go!
Na ang radyo, hanapin ang Z-Radio. Halika na at makinig, mag-aaral tayo! Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, makinig, matuto. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, may matutuhang bago. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Davao de Oro, Radyo Z-Eskwela. Umaraw, edukasyo'y susulong. Kaya, halika na, mag-aaral tayo! Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, makinig matuto. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, may matutuhang bago. Sa Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Davao de Oro, Radyo Z-Eskwela.
DepEd Davao de Oro, Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya!
Let's go!
Nagasibiyag gikan sa Bulawanong probinsya sa Davao de Oro. Kini ang Siguradong Lingaw, Siguradong Kuyaw, 88.5 Z Radio.
This is Z Radio 88.5.
Alright, tayo nagbabalik sa ating programang Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Right and only here sa ating paboritong istasyon, ang Z Radio 88.5, ang istasyong Siguradong Lingaw, Siguradong Kuyaw. 1:19 na mga ka-Z, and our time check is being brought to us by Apex Mining Company Incorporated. And this time po mga ka-Z, we will be featuring our last lesson presentation, which is about the English 7. Ang topic naman dito is sequencing and narrating events in personal or factual recounts. Makakasama natin dito bilang content presenter ang aktuang kauban din sa RBI as one of the anchors, Teacher Given Hinampas, isang Teacher 1 from Monte Vista National High School. And kasama niya bilang Creative Resource Material Developer, isang Teacher 2 from Pantukan District, Sir Ed Ayan Daasin. Ayan mga ka-Z, let's make the most out of our Monday as we use our skills in critical reading in today's episode for our English lessons. Ito pa rin ang Radyo Z-Eskwela, kaya naman tara na, magklase na ta!
Hello, learning buddy. How are you? I hope everyone is doing perfectly fine. My name is Teacher Given Hinampas from Monte Vista National High School main campus, your RBI teacher for grade 7 English. Hey there, learning buddy. In the previous chapter, you were able to learn a lot of information that could enhance your language skills and communicative competence. Also, as a young adult, you are able to successfully thrive in this ever-changing society by learning how to understand, accept, and value diverse backgrounds. In this module, you will be learning another important skill. It will encourage you to use appropriate multimedia resources when orally giving information, instructions, making explanations, and narrating events in personal or factual recounts. In this activity sheet, you will be accomplishing series of exercises to help you strengthen your knowledge in using multimedia resources, in narrating and sequencing events. After going through this, you are expected to 1. Narrate events in personal or factual recounts, and 2. Arrange the events in the text read using multimedia resources. Are you excited to get moving? To begin with your learning journey, let us do the following activities. These activities will check how much you know about multimedia resources and sequencing events. Activity 1. Write the letter of the correct answer on a separate sheet of paper. Are you ready? Let's get moving. Number 1. It refers to the resources that combined multiple media format like text, still images, audio, animation, and video interactively. Letter A. Multimedia resources. Letter B. Internet resources. Letter C. Primary resources. And letter D. Secondary resources. Number 2. Which of the following is a benefit of using multimedia resources? Letter A. It provides a deeper understanding. Letter B. It gives access to a wide array of information. Letter C. It increases positive emotion. And letter D. All of the above. Number 3. Which of the following is not true about multimedia resources? Letter A. Multimedia resources do not allow world exploration. Letter B. Multimedia resources have a direct effect on learning. Letter C. Multimedia resources can impact the student's mood during the learning process. And letter D. Multimedia resources stimulate the brain. Number 4. Which component of multimedia resources is considered as the oldest form of media? Letter A. Text materials. Letter B. Photographs and other still images. Letter C. Audio files. And letter D. Video presentation. Number 5. Which component of multimedia resources refers to moving pictures and typically combining images and sound for a compelling multimedia experience? Letter A. Text materials. Letter B. Photographs and other still images. Letter C. Audio files. And letter D. Video presentation. Activity 2. Arrange the steps in preparing a presentation. Write your answers on the diagram given below. Do not worry, these steps are quite familiar to you. Hurry and give it a try. 1. Select a topic. 2. Analyze your audience. 3. Prepare the body of the presentation. 4. Define the objectives of the presentation. 5. Prepare the introduction and conclusion. And 6. Practice delivering the presentation. Now that you have already gained familiarity with some terminologies which are related to multimedia resources and have tried to arrange simple steps in preparing a presentation, I will now ask you to read and listen to the story My Father Goes to Court. Reading this story will acquaint you with a good example of a narrative story. Note how this story illustrates narrative sequences. Here are the items for column A. Number 1. Judge. Number 2. Secretary. Number 3. Complainant. Number 4. Defendant. And number 5. Stenographer. Here are the items for column B. Letter A. Accuser. Letter B. Transcriber. Letter C. Mediator. Letter D. Clerk. And letter E. Offender. Here are the items for column C. First, an official in an organization who is responsible for writing notes about what happens at meetings and sending officials. Number 2. A person in court of law who is accused of having done something wrong. Number 3. A person who does shorthand or system of fast writing in an office or records speech using a special machine in a court. Number 4. A person who makes a formal complaint in a law court that they have been harmed by someone else. And number 5. A person who is in charge of a court of law.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corbada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Maze Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
My Father Goes to Court by Carlos Bulusan. When I was 4, I lived with my mother and brothers and sisters in a small town on the island of Luzon. Father's farm had been destroyed in 1918 with one of our sudden Philippine floods. So several years afterwards, we all lived in the town, though he preferred living in the country. We had as a next-door neighbor a very rich man, whose sons and daughters seldom came out of the house. While we boys and girls played and sung in the sun, his children stayed inside and kept the windows closed. His house was so tall that his children could look in the window of our house and watched us played, or slept, or ate when there was any food in the house to eat. Now, this rich man's servants were always frying and cooking something good, and the aroma of the food was wafted down to us from the windows of the big house. We hung about and took all the wonderful smells of the food into our beings. Sometimes, in the morning, our whole family stood outside the windows of the rich man's house and listened to the musical sizzling of thick strips of bacon and ham. I can remember one afternoon when our neighbor's servant roasted 3 chickens. The chickens were young and tender, and the fat that dripped into the burning coals gave off an enchanting odor. We watched the servants turn the beautiful birds and inhaled the heavenly spirit that drifted out to us. Some days, the rich man appeared at a window and glowered down at us. He looked at us one by one, as though he were condemning us. We were all healthy because we went out in the sun and bathed in the cool water of the river that flowed from the mountains into the sea. Sometimes we wrestled with one another in the house before we went to play. We were always in the best spirit, and our laughter was contagious. Other neighbors who passed by our house often stopped in our yard and joined us in laughter. As time went on, the rich man's children became thin and anemic, while we grew even more robust and full of life. Our faces were bright and rosy, but theirs were pale and sad. The rich man started to cough at night. Then he coughed day and night. His wife began coughing too. Then the children started to cough, one after the other. At night, their coughing sounded like the barking of a herd of seals. We hung outside their windows and listened to them. We wondered what happened. We knew that they were not sick from the lack of nourishment because they were still always frying something delicious to eat. One day, the rich man appeared at a window and stood there a long time. He looked at my sisters, who had grown fat in laughing, then at my brothers, whose arms and legs were like the malave, which is the sturdiest tree in the Philippines. He banged down the window and ran through his house, shutting all the windows. From that day on, the windows of our neighbor's house were always closed. The children did not come out anymore. We could still hear the servants cooking in the kitchen, and no matter how tight the windows were shut, the aroma of the food came to us in the wind and drifted gratuitously into our house. One morning, a policeman from the Presidencia came to our house with a sealed paper. The rich man had filed a complaint against us. Father took me with him when he went to the town's clerk and asked him what it was about. He told Father the man claimed that for years we had been stealing the spirit of his wealth and food. When the day came for us to appear in the court, Father brushed his old army uniform and borrowed a pair of shoes from one of my brothers. We were the first to arrive. Father sat on a chair in the center of the courtroom. Mother occupied a chair by the door. We children sat on a long bench by the wall. Father kept jumping up from his chair and stabbing the air with his arms, as though we were defending himself before an imaginary jury. The rich man arrived. He had grown old and feeble. His face was scarred with deep lines. With him was his young lawyer. Spectators came in and almost filled the chairs. The judge entered the room and sat on a high chair. We stood in a hurry and then sat down again. After the courtroom preliminaries, the judge looked at the father. "Do you have any lawyer?" he asked. "I don't need any lawyer, Judge," he said. "Proceed," said the judge. The rich man's lawyer jumped off and pointed his finger at father. "Do you or you do not agree that you have been stealing the spirit of the complainant's wealth and food?" "I do not," father said. "Do you or do you not agree that while the complainant's servants cooked and fried fat legs of lamb or young chicken breast, you and your family hung outside his windows and inhaled the heavenly spirit of the food?" "I agree," father said. "Do you or do you not agree that while the complainant and his children grew sickly and tubercular, you and your family became strong of limb and fair in complexion?" "I agree," father said. "How do you account for that?" Father got up and paced around, scratching his head thoughtfully. Then he said, "I would like to see the children of complainant, Judge. Bring in the children of the complainant." Then came in shyly. The spectators covered their mouths with their hands. They were so amazed to see the children so thin and pale. The children walked silently to a bench and sat down without looking up. They stared at the floor and moved their hands uneasily. Father could not say anything at first. He stood by his chair and looked at them. Finally, he said, "I should like to cross-examine the complaint." "Proceed," said the judge. "Do you claim that we stole the spirit of your wealth and became a laughing family, while yours became morose and sad?" Father said, "Yes." "Do you claim that we stole the spirit of your food by hanging outside your windows when your servants cooked it?" Father asked. "Yes." "Then we are going to pay you right now," Father said. He walked over to where we children were sitting on the bench and took my straw hat off my lap and began filling it up with centavo pieces that he took out of his pockets. He went to Mother, who added a fistful of silver coins. My brothers threw in their small change. "May I walk to the room across the hall and stay there for a few minutes, Judge?" Father said. "As you wish," the judge replied. "Thank you," Father said. He strode into the other room with the hat in his hands. It was almost full of coins. The doors of both rooms were wide open. "Are you ready?" Father called. "Proceed," the judge said. The sweet tinkle of the coins carried beautifully in the courtroom. The spectators turned their faces toward the sound with wonder. Father came back and stood before the complainant. "Did you hear it?" he asked. "Hear what?" the man asked. "The spirit of the money when I shook his hat." He asked. "Yes." "Then you are paid," Father said. The rich man opened his mouth to speak and fell to the floor without a sound. The lawyer rushed to his aid. The judge pounded his gravel. "Case dismissed," he said. Fathers trotted around the courtroom. The judge even came down from his high chair to shake hands with him. "By the way," he whispered, "I had an uncle who died laughing." "You like to hear my family laugh, Judge?" Father asked. "Why not?" "Did you hear that, children?" Father said. My sister started it. The rest of us followed them soon. The spectators were laughing with us, holding their bellies and bending over the chairs, and the laughter of the judge was the loudest of all.
The Radyo Z-Eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corbada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
The story, My Family Goes to Court, is an example of a narrative story. It pertains to a particular account of events, experiences, and details. It is also told in first person, as most of narrative stories are told from the point of view of the main character. As a reader, it is important for you to identify the sequence of the story. The sequence of events is the order of events as they occur in a story. The sequence of events in the story occurs in a precise order so that it makes sense to the person reading it. So how are we going to identify the sequence of events? You can organize the story into 3 sections and ask yourself the following questions. Number 1, what happens at the beginning of the story? Number 2, what happens in the middle of the story? And number 3, what happens at the end of the story? The beginning of the story usually introduces the main characters, setting, and problem faced by or purpose of the characters. The middle part of the story usually focuses on the characters as they try and solve the problems. The end of the story focuses on how the problem is resolved, or the end of the character's journey. According to several researchers, the use of multimedia resources in learning offers a lot of benefits, such as 1. It helps learners gain deeper understanding of the lesson. 2. It enhanced problem-solving skills. 3. It nurtures positivity in learning. 4. It serves as an avenue to gain various information. And 5. It allows world exploration. In using multimedia resources in narrating events, the presentation of your narratives should consist of at least 2 and perhaps all of the following types of communication. Number 1. Text materials. It refers to the original words of something written, printed, or spoken. It serves as a primary way to transmit information. Number 2. Photographs and other still images. These are illustrations which are perhaps the oldest form of media. It is as a strong visual element which is often used as an entry point to more detailed information. Number 3. Audio files. It pertains to any digital information with speech or music stored on and played through a computer. Your narrative presentation can add sound from a musical background or a spoken explanation. Number 4. Video presentations. It is a form of multimedia presentation which contains graphic images or moving images, concise text, and sound. Video files are the most memory-intensive multimedia component which provide a compelling experience for the learners. Number 5. GIFs and other forms of animation. GIF stands for Graphics Interchange Format. It is a short animated picture without a sound. Let us practice. How are you doing so far? Are you learning from your exercises? This time, go back to the story above and understand what the author is trying to say. Kindly take some time to do this. Here are important events of the story. Arrange them chronologically in a PowerPoint presentation. Be creative with your slides by combining text with illustrations and animations. 1. The poor family moved to the city because of a sudden flood due to a Philippine typhoon. They had the rich family as their neighbors. 2. The rich family became very sick and blamed the poor family for it. They said that the poor family had been stealing the spirit of their wealth and food. A court scene happened. The lawyer of the rich family started asking questions, and the poor father defended their side. After all the questioning, the poor father found a way to end the scenario. After the court, the poor family and the judge had a good laugh. Number 4. As the maids of the rich family cooked young chicken breasts and tasty legs of lambs, the poor family hung outside their windows and inhaled the heavenly aroma of the food. Number 5. The rich family filed a complaint against the poor family. After many moments, they found themselves in the court. The story is set in a city in the Philippines. The young narrator begins by describing his large family. Though they are poor, they are full of mischief and laughter. The children are all strong and healthy, even though they have often go hungry. In contrast, the rich neighbor's children are thin and sickly, although they are given plenty of good food, which their impoverished neighbors enjoy smelling over the fence. 7. Consequently, the rich man brings a charge against the narrator's family for stealing the spirit of his family's food. The absurd case goes to court, and the narrator's father agrees to pay back the rich neighbor. He does this by collecting coins from all his friends present in his hat, then shaking the hat full of coins. Number 8. Being charged to pay for the spirit of food which his family supposedly got from its smell, he maintains that the jingling of the coins is a fair equivalent. The judge rules in the poor father's favor, and the rich man is forced to depart with no other payment than the spirit of the money the poor man collected. How do you find the activity? Please do great in making your presentations. Let us practice more. How was your previous learning exercise? Was it helpful? Which part or parts confuse you? Do not worry, this next activity might help you gain better understanding. Below is an example of sequence of events chart. Summarize the story, My Father Goes to Court, by accomplishing the chart below. This time, combine texts and drawings in summarizing the story. Follow the format being flashed on the screen. Let us remember, narrating and sequencing events is one of the many skills that contribute to your ability to comprehend what you have read. Also, narrating and sequencing are important components of problem solving across subject areas. Through this lesson, you will be able to use multimedia resources in expressing your stories or narratives creatively, which give you more freedom to voice out or recount your experiences. Answer the following. Give at least 3 important points to consider in using multimedia in sequencing or narrating events. Use the template being flashed on the screen. Let us assess. We are not done yet. Please do the activity below to check how far you have understood the lesson. Are you ready? Good luck! Draw the sequence of events in planting ornamental plants. Follow the format being flashed on the screen. Let us enhance. Now that you have practiced how to narrate or sequence events of the story, you should be ready to use appropriate multimedia resources in narrating events in personal or factual recounts. Let us try to see how you can apply your understanding of the lesson to more complex situations. Your task is: narrate the things that you have done during Christmas season ruined by the coronavirus pandemic through a video blog or vlog. Then, post it in your favorite social media account. Be reminded of these rubrics. I believe you are all done with your activity. Now, let us reflect. Write a reflection on what you have learned in this module by completing the blank space below. Follow the template being flashed on the screen. You may start with, "My journey through this lesson made me realize that." And that officially concludes our lesson presentation for today. Thank you for always being with me in our grade 7 English class. Once again, my name is Teacher Given Hinampas from Monte Vista National High School main campus, saying, God bless everyone and mabuhay. Radyo Z-Eskwela Executive Committee, the School's Division Superintendent, Eufemia T. Gamutin, CESO 5, Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Romel R. Handayan, OIC Curriculum Implementation Division Chief, Karina S. Frasco, School Governance and Operations Division Chief, Dr. Ruben J. Riponte. Members: Cecilia Morales, Dr. Hilda A. Opeña, Dr. Arlene B. Lim, Dr. Eldicles B. Calzadora, Dr. Dexter A. Siquinia, Nohara O. Pinute, Noemi P. Canales, Dr. Grace D. Pontillas, Virgilito C. Pabrices, Juanito Lapiceros, Engineer Norberto S. Manlangi, Jomar M. Dumupoy, Bob Dalan S. Milabat, Medard T. Ampit, and Paz Eugenia Villusino. Technical Working Committee, Productions and Communications, Lorely E. Quijano, Given G. Hinampas, Judyland D. Yu, Donna D. D. Bolifer, Mary Rose N. Resma, Riven Manuel, Irene Lea C. Manguhon, and Bessie Aya N. Banias. Social Media and Packaging Team, Christian and Hara L. Martesio, William R. Ranara, Joan T. Iscoton, Roberto S. Acusar Jr., May B. Istanyol, Richard H. Arellano, Lee L. S. Blanco, Ralph A. Tabanyag, Angelo Gutierrez Jr., and Jade Karen Araiz.
Ayan, it's already 1:52 na po ng hapon mga ka-Z, and our time check is being brought to us by Radyo Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated. Ayan mga Zuking Tigpaminaw and netizens natin across our crossline streamings of FB pages. Nasaksihan natin at napakinggan natin ang ating last lesson presentation for today, which is about the English 7 na may topic na sequencing and narrating events in personal or factual recounts. We would like to say thank you to our content presenter, our kasamahan dito sa RBI team as one of the anchors also, Teacher Given G. Hinampas, Teacher 1 from Monte Vista National High School. And also to his creative resource material developer, isang Teacher 2 from Pantukan District, specifically Bungabong National High School, we have Sir Ed Ayan Daasin. And again, we would like to remind all the content presenters and creative resource material developer to please submit your raw materials ahead of time para mas mapanindot pa jud sa atong RBI team editors ang inyong mga lesson presentation. Ayan, as a recap po ng ating lesson presentation for today, it's about all English and it's for English 5, 6, 7, and 8. Kaninang umaga, we had the featured English 5 different text types and sinundayan for the English 6 evaluating narratives based on how the author developed the elements, setting, and characters. And sinundan yan ng ating English 8 na examining biases. And lastly, we have English 7 sequencing and narrating events in personal or factual recounts. 1:55 na mga ka-Z. So, I have only 5 minutes to go before mag-bye-bye. And I would like to acknowledge the RBI team na kasama ko ngayon, ng aking VMix operator na si Sir Tata Acosar Jr. Thank you so much. And also, naka-on-site din dito sa ating istasyon si Ma'am May Istanyol. At the same time, Ma'am Bessie Aya Ibanez. Tama ba? Ma'am Bessie, sorry. Well, and also, thank you so much, Sir William Ranana. Nag-birthday si Sir kahapon. So, salamat sa pakain. And, again, so, patuloy pa rin tayo magsumuporta sa ating programa dito sa Z-Radio 88.5 FM, ang Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Mapaminawan ninyo ang ato ang programa from Mondays to Sundays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. po mga ka-Z. So, tanang adlaw po, mapaminawan mo ninyo. Again, patuloy pa rin tayong sumuporta sa ating mga FB pages and para po sa ating mga learners across the province, stay tuned always sa ato mga programa since we do have our attendance link. And our attendance link for today is https://tinyurl.com/RadyoZ-Eskwela0405. And with that attendance link po mga ka-Z, makita na po kinsa jud ang nag-participate sa atong programa everyday in our program. Ayan, and if you missed this lesson presentation for today, worry no more, mga learners across the province of Davao de Oro, since we do have our YouTube channel. Again, our YouTube channel, please like and subscribe the Radyo Z-Eskwela DDO. Our YouTube channel is Radyo Z-Eskwela DDO. And we would like to say thank you so much sa ating mga butihing Radyo Z-Eskwela program sponsors. Thank you so much sa inyong makanunayang suporta para sa atong programa. Ayan, it's already 1:57 na po ng hapon mga ka-Z. Wala na tayo igong oras. Kini si Teacher Drew Manuel ang iyong magsisilya sa kahanginan na mag-ingon sa inyo na padayon gyapon sa atong kinabuhi. God bless you always and stay safe, stay healthy. I-maintain nato atong mga minimum health protocols. Maggamit og face mask or even face shield every time or mag-disinfect sa atong mga kamot every time. Ayan, so it's time for me to say bye-bye and see you tomorrow po. Makakasama niyo po ako from together with Ma'am Maymay, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, and sa 12 noon to 2 p.m. tomorrow po, you have Teacher Given Hinampas. Kini ang Radyo Z-Eskwela, siguradong masaya. Right and only here sa atong paboritong istasyon, ang Z-Radio 88.5 FM, ang istasyong siguradong lingaw, siguradong kuyaw. And with all of us, dalaygon ang Diyos.